Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back once again to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, and I believe we have picked up an additional 10,000 listeners last month that are scattered all over the world. And if you are new to this podcast, welcome to our little community. Come on in, the water is fine. And every day we explore how technology is transforming our home, work, life, and even world. But I want you to be a part of the conversation too. So I invite everybody listening to share your insights, questions, or requests to come on the podcast by emailing me directly at techblogwriter@outlook.com. But today, I want to learn more about how a company called Cooler Screens is transforming retail shopping experiences. And if you have been to Walgreens in Chicago recently, you might already be familiar with their technology because they are leveraging smart screens that are powered by AI and IoT to enhance those in-store customer shopping experiences. And they've worked with some pretty big brands such as Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Miller Coors, Tyson, Red Bull, Monster, that list goes on, but all with the aim of using technology to better engage customers at the point of sale. And these interactive fridge freezer screens are currently running in a number of Walgreens locations across the Chicago area and soon to be up and running in 2,500 Walgreens locations right across the US. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to Chicago so you can join me in conversation with the founder and former CEO of Argo Tea and current co-founder and CEO of Cooler Screens. But enough from me. Let's get Arsen onto the podcast right now. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell listeners a little more about who you are and what you do?
Sure. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm Arsen Avakian. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Cooler Screens, a technology company bringing digital to the retail stores and building a first in-store digital media platform ever been built.
And you are working with some pretty cool technology, it has to be said. But I've got to ask, where did your passion for technology come from? Can you remember that moment that lit that spark and put you on this path?
Well, a lot of people, they don't realize because I came to tech right now. Previously, I started a consumer brand called Argo Tea. But what they don't know is that prior to that, I was in the tech business. So I'm a tech kid, grew up in tech. First business and the typical stuff after business school. But then I left the industry, went to become an entrepreneur, building a consumer brand called Argo. And that brand has grown quite nicely. And then 2017, after we sold the company, 2018, we started Cooler Screens. So my story is very simple. I went from IT to T and now back to IT. But everything from my undergrad in computer science to my first set of experiences, it's all tech.
Love that. And I am reading more and more that the customer experience has now become even more important than the purchase or the actual product itself. And what intrigued me about you guys is Cooler Screens was founded on the core idea that consumers deserve a far better experience than what is available in traditional brick and mortar retail. But can you tell the listeners a little more about what it is and the kind of problems you set out to solve with this technology?
Yeah, well, as you just said, it's all about consumer experience. And my background, because I've been in the consumer business for so long prior to starting Cooler Screens, if I say I spent 10,000 hours in the aisles of the retail stores and observing the consumers and seeing the challenges and the pain points they're going through, the retailers are going through, the brands like us would experience, it has become pretty evident that while everybody has evolved, the technology, screens have become so ubiquitous in our lives, it didn't really make it into the brick and mortar store. When you shop online with Amazon or Walmart, you get all these amazing capabilities and features that make your shopping decisions so much more informed, much easier, much more relevant, and the transparency of the information. but yet you walk into, as I said, to a traditional brick and mortar physical store, and you feel like you're in 1950s. You don't see the products, the price tags don't match, you don't know how many calories, you don't know what, maybe with the pharmacy, what side effects and this and that. You have to pick up the product, to squint and look at the back of the bottle, let's say, of tea, and find out what are the ingredients and how many calories or sugar in it, right? These are basics. So what was pretty obvious, that if there was a way to bring the best of the online shopping and e-commerce like features into a brick and mortar store, and do that in a seamless, integrated way, so that it becomes the best of both worlds. So you're standing in a physical store with the convenience of what it means to you, being able to get the product right away, but yet you are benefiting from that digital experience of the interface, if you will. And that's how Cooler Screens was born. We said we'll bring the best of online shopping into the cooler aisle, and then we'll grow from there to other sections of the store. And we started with the cooler aisle because we felt that's the natural place where we can replace these old glass cooler doors with the new digital smart screens that seamlessly integrate into the existing retail environment. And by doing so, we'll create this amazing marketplace for digital merchandising and digital advertising for the brands and retailers to engage the consumers at the moment of what they call it, the moment of truth, at the last mile of marketing.
And I think everybody listening will agree with you on those retail experiences that have not changed since the 50s. But do you have any use cases that you can share that will just help listeners understand how they might interact with your technology at Cooler Screens one day in a more digital, upgraded retail experience?
Yeah, so the concept of replacing the surface of the cooler doors, which is where we started, with the digital screens that are smart screens that are able now to turn the displays and the product shelves into digital product shelves, right? So now you are able to give the consumers so much more up-to-date and applicable information, just like when they are online. And as a result of that, not only Cooler Screens modernizes the in-store shopping experience, but it also improves that information access, relevance, and transparency. With that improved visibility, consumers are more confident. They're making purchase decisions that best fit their budgets, their taste, or health preferences. Examples I brought, you called use cases, whether it's the basics of knowing how many calories are in the product. A lot of times, consumers, it's very difficult information for them to find that. They would like to know what the price per ounces are. They'd like to know what other people thought or bought, the star reviews, right? The almost everything you would think in Amazon or Walmart online store as the filter boxes on the left. I always say all of those are the features for the consumers to be able to sort and find the information about the products easier. And by empowering the consumer, we help them make these better choices, which result in either higher sales and on delighted consumers.
And how does it all work? You can tell me a little bit more about how you leverage these smart screens and also powered by AI and IoT to bring it all to life. But for any techies listening who want to just look under the hood, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, we built the technology that we designed and built it from ground up, unlike anything that was done before, to be able to deliver on that company's vision for CX, the consumer experience. And it was about capturing the power of the latest digital technology, including the IoT, the cloud, the edge computing, the AI, as well as some of the latest in the high resolution LED, LCD technologies, to be able to bring that all together in a puzzle, if you will. The core of what makes this all work is what we refer to as the edge computing platform. It's the edge computing technology is what allows us to essentially turn the surface of these cooler doors into a smart surface. You now have the IoT sensors and the powerful computing computers that are able to constantly process consumer behavior, such as their actions, their motions, their attention signals, and overlay that against the external environmental data signals. Could be the time of the day, could be the weather. I mean, specific examples. It could be 90 degrees outside. It's 3 p.m. and the consumer is standing in front of the ice cream cooler. I mean, it's what we call the contextual engine that would at that moment recommend to a consumer an ice cream. Maybe it's the Häagen-Dazs new chocolate flavor ice cream, right? So these are the kind of relevant experiences with a tailored content and information that the technology is able to now be able to bring to the physical store, because that edge compute capability is right there. We build a stack of our applications to enable whether it's what we call the cooler media of a proprietary merchandising and advertising application that allows the retailers and the brands to the ability to deliver these smart in-context promotions, design digital planograms, deliver flawless product displays, real-time pricing, seamless out-of-stock management. So that's the first part of it. We have a whole analytics part of the technology stack, which it's the engine of these analytics gives really unique insights into consumer behavior, promotion effectiveness, inventory, the compliance, and through our scale data infrastructure, we analyze consumer activity patterns in real time using the machine learning and the other advanced analytics. And finally, there is a cooler marketplace. And that's where the brands purchase advertising space and manage programmatic campaigns. The cooler marketplace optimizes the ad delivery with intelligent targeting and precise placement to ensure the right offering is delivered at the right time in the right place to the right customer. We support the full advertising life cycle for the brands, including the campaign management, A/B testing, the analytics, the yield management, and so on. And we're integrated with our partners at Verizon Media, the umbrella company for former Yahoo and AOL, to be able to give that omni-channel programmatic capabilities for the brands and agencies.
I'm glad you mentioned that there, because I recently read that Cooler Screens has also announced its largest round of funding yet, which is absolutely incredible and backed by Microsoft and Verizon. But for anyone that missed that announcement, can you just expand on what they've missed?
Yeah, we say that Cooler Screens, yes, we're a young company, but it's really a global network of these big industry companies, leaders that bring their deep expertise on a massive scale. So our power and reach it extends far beyond our own team and technology. And by partnering with the global leaders in their particular segments for retail, consumer goods, and technology, we assemble this worldwide network with the capabilities and the products and the access. So the partnerships with Verizon, Microsoft are just manifesting in us being able to tap into the latest and greatest of their technologies and being able to assemble that all at scale, which gives confidence, one, to the Fortune 500 retailers, Fortune 100 retailers, and the brands be willing to participate. This becomes a viable alternative at scale to perhaps when they consider their digital campaigns comparing to Google, Facebook, or TikToks recently, right? So the funding is just a testament of the value, the real value we brought to the customers so far. And we call customers both the consumers and the retailers and the brands that are in this trifecta ecosystem of Cooler Screens. It's the funding is very simple. We're going to use it to grow into many more retailers, many more stores. We want to advance the technology capabilities to the next level. We expect to reach nearly 100 million consumers per month by the end of next year, by end of 2021. So, and you put that into perspective of the scale of the scale of the marketplace or the platform. Super Bowl in United States, it's about 100 million people viewership once a year. So we tell cheekily to our brands that if they want to connect with the consumers at the Super Bowl scale once a month, Cooler Screens would be the platform of their choice.
And I appreciate you're probably locked down to a lot of NDAs and can't reveal too much, but are there any partnerships that you have in place that you can shout about at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, our launch partner was Walgreens. They have done just amazing with us, and we're very proud. They allowed us to quickly go to scale. And now with Walgreens also being one of the key partners for the vaccine COVID distribution, right? Every single American will be essentially going through the Walgreens locations. So we're very proud of that launch foundational partner. In addition to that, we have publicly shared some other great names like Kroger, the biggest grocery in the United States, GetGo convenience chain, and many more that unfortunately I am under NDA. I can't share as they are in the earlier stage of the pilot. So that's on the retailer side. We have over 150 brands, some of the largest top consumer brands that you can think of. They all have joined the marketplace, and they are advertising with us over the last 12 months and signing up for far greater participation going into 2021. And our technology partners, they're all public. We have partnered with Microsoft. We're standardized all around the Azure, and Verizon has two folds of our relationship. They are our 5G partner, bringing the 5G connectivity and managed services to be able to handle a network of such scale. Notably, we have partnership with Dover. Dover is a company that controls most of the cooler and freezer doors, manufacturing, installing them, and maintaining them in the United States. So we're not alone. It's the power of this network of partners that makes this all come together.
And before we were talking today, or before we started recording the podcast today, we were exchanging stories on how difficult it has been on both sides of the pond. But here we are in a new year. So I've got to ask, what excites you about 2021 and the road ahead?
Well, clearly COVID pandemic 2020 is an unimaginable year, right? So much tragedy, so much hardship for so many people. And we happen to be uniquely positioned to be one of those companies that ended up being the beneficiary of a surge of traffic going into the physical stores. I mean, all of our partners have experienced record traffic and record sales simply because people rushed into those retail stores to purchase their food, beverage, and the essential supplies. We have that has given us the momentum to prove the value that we are doing for both consumers. We're talking about over 90% consumer score satisfactions scores and double-digit 200 to 300% higher same-store sale lifts in the stores that have become digitized by cooler screens. So with those kind of proof points from 2020, 2021 is very exciting to us. We had a landslide of retailers and consumer brands that now asked us, please replicate this, please scale this up and do it as soon as you can. And that explains also why we needed the funding to be able to take on such a growth of 10x plus. So we are very, very bullish about 2021 for both the momentum that we've created from 2020, but also I believe there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and the world is going to feel a lot more comfortable about the investments into technology, investments into their brands, which is where we benefit, being an in-store digital advertising and a merchandising platform for these brands.
And I appreciate you probably can't share too much at all, but is there anything you can share about what's next for Cooler Screens, where you're going from here and your vision for the future?
Well, the one thing that I am very excited is that in 2021, we will be expanding not only with multiple other retailers within the cooler and freezer aisle, but also we will be piloting in some other sections of the store with the pharmacy and the beauty areas. There is a tremendous momentum where the same need for information and the transparency of the information is not only in the food and beverage area, but also in the healthcare area. And as the healthcare services like vaccinations are continuing to move into a retail model, the point of care is shifting from your traditional outpatient facility when you go to visit your doctors. You're now using your local Walgreens or CVS, your local pharmacy, as the place to go and get some of those basic healthcare services. And we believe that we can bring a similar educational, communication, and a promotional platform for the pharmaceutical brands and for the healthcare companies to be able to connect with those patients and consumers at the point of care, at the point of the prescription dispensing, medication dispensing. So we'll be able to take the cooler screens hypothesis, and we now can, I'm excited to be able to replicate that within an adjacent space for the healthcare side.
And for anyone listening that would like to follow your journey or even reach out and contact a member of your team if they want to bounce back in the retail industry by upgrading what they're doing there, what's the best way of finding you guys online and maybe having a look at some videos and things of what you guys are actually producing out there, and the best way of contacting your team? Where should they go?
Very easy. Coolerscreens.com. Coolerscreens.com. Just on the front page of that site, you'll get access to a bunch of information, including a demonstration video of the technology. And we're always available, always, and emailing me at arsen@coolerscreens.com personally to me if you need to.
Well, I love what you're doing here. Excuse the pun, but it is incredibly cool technology. And I love how you're leveraging smart screens that are powered by AI and IoT and are, in fact, enhancing the in-store customer experience for such huge brands around the world. But what I will do on the blog post that I will use to promote this podcast, I'll include a video just so people can see and visualize the kind of work that you're doing. But more than anything, just thank you for taking the time to come on here and share your story with me today.
Thank you so much, Neil. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing our story, and happy holidays to you.
Like I said, I will add a video to the blog post on my website over at techblogwriter.co.uk so you can visualize what those cooler screens look like. But if you do see any of that technology in Walgreens at any point this year, just promise me, remember where you heard about them first. But I would love to hear more about what you thought behind the concept of colour screens and what they're creating there. And if you get to see one in person, what you thought of it too, whatever it might be. Any questions, pictures to come on the show, whatever it might be. My email address, once again, is techblogwriter@outlook.com. My website is techblogwriter.co.uk. Keep those messages coming in, and I'll meet you here again tomorrow. But I'm out of time. So just a big thank you for listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.